So if they attack me, I can run out.
That's not what we do, Mayor.
You catch me as I'm running out, and then you take care of the situation.
Alright, so this is.
I know what you did. All right, it is 7 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, for being okay.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we have an agenda in front of us. One thing I did not see on here is the recognition for our volunteers that are advocates of the
Public comment.
Public comment.
Oh, there it is.
All right, it's in here.
Okay, does anybody see we have any other changes we need to make to our agenda
Can
tonight?
you scratch C under public comment?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, there's a letter here.
Anything else, council? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the regular meeting for October 22nd, 2018.
Second.
Motion and second on the table, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move. Does anybody on council feel that they have a comment? Do I have a motion?
Motion to move to approve the minutes from October 8, 2018.
Do I have a second? Motion and second on the table, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nobody opposes, we'll move on. Bills and salaries, do I have a motion?
Move to approve bills to October 22nd, 2018, and salaries for September 2018.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ty goes to the winner. Discussion.
Never mind.
Page 4, 602, 3603, and right down from says park supplies. What is that specific?
John?
I would have to look at the invoices. I mean, it could be anything from sprinkler parts to bathroom tissue.
Which window is that?
All the windows downstairs.
All of them.
First, we're going to swear in our new officer, Andrew Fresquez. He's been avoiding us for a while, but I think he's here tonight.
He's been policing.
Andrew? Yeah, action. Come on here.
Raise your hand.
Mr. Mary, you have your way down.
I, Andrew Fresquez, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of police officer for the state of Colorado upon which I'm about to enter.
I do.
Congratulations.
All right.
Can I get some shots of the family? Up here?
Yes.
Do you want me to take pictures of you and the family too?
Let's do this first. Can we get the council behind their chairs and
Yeah,
squish
sure.
it in? The mayor, you have to stand next to him.
Stand next to him.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry.
So behind you?
Okay. Yes, just come in a little bit.
You want to
Got
be in
that
there
wide
too?
angle lens.
No, I have to step back though. Oh, that's great. That's gonna be a great picture. Scott,
Perfect.
yeah, just move a little bit. There you go. All right, everybody in. 1, 2, 3. Where's mom? Picture everybody in. 1.
See, he goes vertical, I go horizontal.
All right, where's Mom? Okay, Mom first, and then we'll do the rest of the. All right, where's the rest of the family?
Hey.
You got the right list?
We'll make it work.
Mom and
I want a solo.
aunties.
And
Yeah,
Neil.
no,
I want a solo.
What's that?
I want a solo.
You want a solo? All right.
That's like my son up there.
Come on, Leo.
I'm gonna go solo.
Okay. All right, we start ready? Here we go.
I have a clicker on that. Want a couple?
All right.
Thank you.
That's a nice phone there, Sheriff.
What is that?
I'm just kidding.
All right.
I'm proud of this, man.
He was serious.
I want a picture of them tasing Mike.
How long am I gonna have him, Sheriff?
An agent, you know my agent?
All right. Next, we are going to recognize our community advocates. What this group of folks does for our community is unbelievable. They work behind the scenes for calls that we have, a lot of domestic violence, which this month we declared Domestic Violence Month, and we recognize that through an ordinance or a resolution that we did, right? So, thank you for what you do. Without you folks in this community, going out there 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning to spend time with folks that have gone through some unpleasant experiences. I take my hat off to you and thank you very much for what you do in this community. Joni is the director, correct? Is that the correct position title? Is the director. I talk to her all the time. She likes to eat at my restaurant for some reason. But, you know, Joni, thank you so much for what you do for this community and put this group together. I know the volunteers, it's already hard. We all know what it's like trying to get volunteers to work and do things in your community. For you to pull a group of folks together and be supportive of this is, thank you very much.
Couldn't do it without my
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, very good. So, we've got a little award for you that we would like to present to you. This is the Superior Service Award. Given to the Clear Creek County Advocates for unrelenting service to the citizens of Idaho Springs.
Awesome.
All right. So thank all of you too. You all deserve this and keep up the good work for us.
Joey, look at us.
Yeah.
Can I do like a pose or something?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Like,
you
yeah,
look here.
Do you want me to get a picture too? Turn the order.
I
They
don't
like, they
like,
like each other. So
I don't mind.
There you go. Oh my God. Is it working?
It's working.
Can we do a group photo?
Yeah, that's what I was going
Yes, all the advocates come up, please. You want to say something?
I just want to thank you guys for your support and your law enforcement support. And I definitely couldn't do it without my volunteers.
Is this all volunteers? Are we missing a
Oh,
few?
no, Debbie.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, we're missing it. We just got a new group that will graduate Thursday at 8, so we'll be at about 15, 16 volunteers.
All right, very
All
good.
right, everyone ready?
Can we see everybody else? Make sure you can see the camera here. Alright.
All right, put your fingers down. Thank you.
As long as you said the fee.
Graduation.
Okay, I just asked the question if there's any union that's affiliated with the advocates of justice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're an advocate.
She's on the board.
Resolution supporting the city's application to bring outdoors from Colorado.
That's good. Pictures of me and Andrew.
Motion and second discussion.
So I would like to make sure that this shovel-ready design is
congratulations on the
Right, this is solely for the
You guys are terrific out there. Bunch of leaves in my yard.
Right, but what is the
And I had to
If
you looked up here,
Use perspective.
So, but as far as this shovel ready,
We have,
can we see
we
that?
have a design, we don't have, construction drawings. I do not, THD basically has a design, so there is some engineering to get the price.
I saw was a really massive,
It's
really
scaled way back
expensive.
from that.
And I
It's
just,
just
I
certain
don't know
elements.
if any of us have seen any of the edits to this.
I think that's a good.
Why don't we get with GHK and see if he's got some reasons?
One consideration is that I have that resolution, the grant is due on November 1st, and the resolution needs to be a part of that. But I could probably contact Ellie and see what they've got,
So,
right now.
what, do you have a rendering on your laptop that you could show us real quick? Or no?
We've got
Give me
some.
one
I mean, is this, okay, so you talk about bathrooms, you talk about refurbishing the structure there, but.
Correct.
So I know at one
Remember
point
the-
there,
The
It'll
excessive
say a
amount
big
of
green,
trees.
area, grassy area, we'll put in some landscaping, trees, refurbish the gazebo down there, the shelter.
And then it'll also be, one thing to remember is it also includes some things in the community garden. So
Okay.
there will be a new layer of crusher fines on the bottom of the community garden, and then there'll be irrigation, a new fence, and depending on
okay,
like a garden boxes that we need for the
So what we
garden.
did is we partnered up with Scratch the Soil, so that they can tag on our grant. So there's some matching money in as well.
okay.
And they'll help them, when you apply for GoCo and they see this type of partnership, especially with a nonprofit in the city, that strengthens our application. So,
I guess my concern is that we're not trying to bite off more than we really need to chew with, you know what I mean? Cause I mean, when I drive by it, the purpose of it being an open space. So I mean, obviously we need bathrooms, that's the most important thing.
I have a budget that shows the project. It's
That
not
sounds
pictures, but I
great,
can
yeah,
show
we
you
haven't
that.
even seen through the rest of it, or?
we
Because,
can
I mean,
table this resolution and come back to it, and we can move on.
Well, just until we get, until you give him time to go print this stuff off and we can get through the rest of this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You get a first and a second, we just would need to do a roll call
Do
or
a roll call on it.
or
So,
voice vote.
okay, so we'll set that aside, we'll move on, if everybody wants to get out of here tonight. So we'll move to the ordinance's first reading, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve ordinance number 11, series 2018, ordinance adopting by reference and amended chapter 22 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning historic preservation.
Do I have a second? Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We'll move to our next ordinance reading. Do I have a motion?
Motion for ordinance number 12, series 2018, in zoning and community design standards respectively.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion.
So were these all passed, what was the vote on with the planning commission with this? Was it
All in favor?
All in favor?
All unanimous?
No nays.
Cool.
And of course, this is our first reading, so
Right,
there will be another
yeah.
option that
Yeah.
if we want to bring things back to the table.
There are a couple of questions in there.
Okay. All right, roll call.
Michael Hillman?
Yes.
Jeff Now?
We'll move to our next ordinance 13. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve ordinance number 13, series 2018, an ordinance adopting by reference and amended chapter 26 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning areas of state interest.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion.
So we got ordinance 13 and 14 say chapter 26, is that supposed to be correct?
One is areas of state review, chapter, ordinance 13. So let's finish out, ordinance 14. We've got the motion, we've got the second, right, Diane?
Yes.
Okay, discussion on ordinance 14. Roll call.
No,
We read 13.
you read 13.
Uh,
First and a second.
So
It is
13
chapter
should be
25.
chapter 25.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got the motion on the table. Instead of chapter 26, it's chapter 25.
Correct.
Note the correction on that. And any more discussion? Roll call.
Michael Hillman.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Tracy Stokes, Bob Boland,
Yes.
Mike Buick,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Jason Segel.
Yes.
All right, we'll move to the next ordinance, D.
Alright,
Motion.
I'll move to approve ordinance number 14, series 2018, an ordinance adopting by reference and amended chapter 26 of the Idaho Springs Municipal Code concerning the East End Overlay District.
Have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Michael Hillman.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Tracy Stokes, Bob Boland,
Yes.
Mike Buick,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Jason Segel.
Yes.
All right, now, we are gonna go back and take a look at, some renderings, or this is just budget.
This is budget, yeah. For the grant.
Resolution 14.
Resolution 14,
Yes.
correct. Thank you, sir.
John, you wanna go ahead and speak to it?
Sure. So, this is the GOCO budget form, so it's a little bit, it's just kind of involved. Basically, the GOCO funds are the funds that would come out of the grant. Applicant funds are things that we are responsible for, and then partner funds are things like the crusher fines from Fry's. So that counts as a match, and what we did is we tried to take this budget and take everything out of the park except for the main water line, but not a sewer line. And the restroom facility that we got has what's called a utility tree, so all the utilities are combined. And so there's a little bit of work to do to make sure that that will connect into the proper manhole.
The depths, everything, that has to be worked up.
The part is past its useful life, likely. The structure is still okay, but what they're gonna try to do is open it up a little bit more, to make sure that it's not, I don't know if I wanna call it a safety hazard, but there are kind of activities that people don't associate with park safety that happen in that gazebo sometimes. And so the idea is just to make it as easy to see into what's happening in there as possible. In there, the horseshoe pits are something, I think, a feature that a lot of people in the
Yeah,
community really
absolutely.
want to have in the park. And then the landscaping is basically just to replace and repair what's damaged when they do the building in the park. So basically, one project that we had thought is to kind of incorporate it into the park more, but what we've done is tried to just basically do bare bones alone. In the garden, you can see the fence.
The ranch rail fence, the wire mesh and stuff, that's for the
Correct.
garden.
And then the one thing about the wooden garden beds that I would note is that they have asked for a grant from Henderson as well for that.
Okay.
And so that would be covered partially by volunteer hours, partially by Henderson, and then a little bit by the GOCO.
Okay.
John, I'm still trying to get confirmation, those, I found out, last night or the night before last, that, they won't award those grants until the end of November, notified
Okay.
from Henderson. So I'm pushing a little bit on the person that handles those to see if they can give me a wink or a nod.
I talked to GOCO about that issue, and she said that if there's a reasonable expectation that grant money can be awarded, that we can put it on a spreadsheet. We just need to count it as unsecured funding.
Unsecured funding.
We have all, with our bathroom project, the nice thing about this particular grant is that with us paying for the bathrooms, we have something like a 57% match for the grant. So we actually are in a really good financial position to leverage that money really well.
Okay. And what about this concrete and crusher fines? What's that for?
The concrete and crusher fines, the concrete is basically the pavement that will be connecting the restroom to the Greenway Trail essentially.
Oh,
So that you
okay.
can get from the parking lot
yeah,
over there.
We've been
okay.
advised to put a 6-foot, we'll call it an apron of concrete around the structure, like a,
Right.
So you can walk around there.
Yeah. Okay.
Crusher fines, one
So
of the things.
that's separate from the actual line item for the restrooms.
Yeah, that's to pour the pad. The restrooms are a modular design, and so what'll happen
Okay.
is they'll crane them into place, but we need to create the pad that they'll sit on.
I see. Okay.
And then the crusher fines, we're trying to make this And so using crusher fines, make sure that surface on some of the trails around the park will be
I see.
we'll be able to do that. There's, we also talked about having a good area for the farmer's market so that it doesn't damage the grass or anything like that, and so that'll hopefully help with that.
And so $218,000 for a modular bathroom?
Fair price.
Wow. Jeez. There's still
How
porta
many-
potties out there.
How many stalls is that?
It's a, I
Two
believe,
stall in each one, 2 stalls in each bathroom, 2 stalls, and water fountain.
Sinks.
Yeah, sinks and everything, what we're calling prison
Yeah, it's
structures.
Robust structure.
Okay, that's a better word probably,
Okay.
so we gotta make them, so
Yeah.
we know what kind of,
you guys Jason, you kind of spoke to this, but this park is within for a green space park in the city.
Yes.
You know, if you think about how the city was built, there's just not a lot
Yeah.
of opportunities for this. It's through Idaho Springs on the Greenway Trail, and it's also going to connect to the mountain park. So
Yeah.
it's really going to anchor the city in the middle. And one of the things that we try to do, especially with the gazebo, is to build a facility that can really be used for civic events, and like maybe we could potentially move the Christmas tree lighting there.
Right.
Just have outdoor civic events, not necessarily concerts, but just a place for the community to gather. And I think that it's 3.6 acres now, and I think it's big enough to serve that purpose. And
Yeah.
people can get there by car, by foot, by bike, or by boat. So it's pretty accessible.
Yeah, I agree. I just didn't, when it was, that original design, that was just like ridiculous. That,
we
it's
all felt that
We've
way.
come a long
Except
way.
John Bordoni, he liked it.
Yeah, Mike, I think we're missing an opportunity for a history lesson here, actually, with the park. Anybody know who Courtney Ray Cooper was?
well, I've heard recently that somebody wanted to change the names because they didn't think they thought one of those people was not a good person.
It's one person. It's
That's
not
what I
two,
said.
so-
That's what I said. One of
Actually,
the,
he
he
was
wasn't a
a-
very nice person.
Right.
A very widely known author, and the author who coined the David, he was an actually known author.
yeah.
And I think, and he was a resident here. He lived here. And so bad or good, it's part of our history. I never heard the bad part. I barely remember it. No.
One thing we did incorporate into the design is new signage, and it was essentially what we're trying to think of is how can we incorporate the design from the roundabout into the park for both the garden and the park. And she gave us a fairly decent price. I think it could be double-sided, so you could do one or you could do 2 if they wanted to pay a little bit extra. But maybe we could incorporate something like that onto
Yeah,
the design.
I mean, really, just a brief description. And,
We also have the Blue Star Memorial is there, which is, and Steve Canyon is there, correct? And so there is a couple other, like the community Springs things associated with
it
that.
really is.
It's called South Canyon Park. What'd you say? Nothing.
All right,
All right, thank you for getting this.
okay, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Michael Hellman.
Yes.
Dr. Mel.
Yes.
Tracy Stokes, Bob Boland.
Yes.
Mike Buick.
Reading under second ordinance reading. Do I have a motion?
Oh, go ahead.
I'll move to approve ordinance number 10, series 2017, an ordinance of the City Council for the City of Idaho Springs, Colorado, approving the design and engineering loan agreement between Colorado Water Resources and Power Development Authority and the city, acting by and through its water activity enterprise, and authorizing the mayor and city administrator to execute related documents.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
What is this?
This is the
Is there any
design.
documentation in our packet about this?
This is for, this is one of the ones that you sent out on the email, right?
No, it's the second reading of ordinance that was first read on September 24th. Nothing's changed.
This is for our,
This
Which
is related to
part?
grant funds.
Wasn't 100% clear. Okay.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Michael Miller.
Yes.
Jeff Canal.
Yes.
Tracy Stokes. Bob Poland.
Yes.
Mike Buick.
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
Jason Siegel.
Yes.
Sorry, the yawn, yes.
Got you in the middle of the All
Hate it when
right,
that
finance
happens.
officer, city administrator,
Man,
you're up. Anybody have any?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay,
I need a,
an amount of $3,656,074 for Minor Street construction
do I
contract.
have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion.
So why is that bid so much lower than the next highest bid? Did they, I mean, obviously it just says.
It's 500,000, right? I don't have the sheet, but I think it's
They
500,000.
believe it's to be balanced and responsive, but do, I mean, is that just because they've already got some equipment here and stuff like that?
That is absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
we
And
can
they-
look
they
for the
do have,
documents and what ACC
flags
has
in
advanced.
there.
Flaggers are already here, they don't have, and that was a huge one, that was like $100,000 difference.
Oh, okay.
And then the mobilization always, you know,
Okay.
AC's already here, so
Okay.
that helps out
That makes sense.
with that, and we looked through very briefly. You know, that HDR did vet the whole, bid, make sure there wasn't any miscalculations, we didn't have anybody bid $500,000 low and then come back and withdraw.
Right, like we did the last time.
So,
wait a second.
and we only had 3 bids this time, so.
We only received 3 bids. Initially, we had,
Is that what we gotta get
Oh,
through?
No,
no, we
I
could
don't-
have just one.
Oh, okay.
Do we have the motion in a second? Any more discussion? Roll call.
Michael Hillman.
Yes.
Jeff Canal.
Yes.
Tracy Stokes. Bob Poland.
Yes.
Mike Buick.
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
Jason Siegel.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. So a couple of things with that. The Greenway contract signed, they on Minor Street, because in the contract, there was a provision that they could not touch Soda Creek until January
After the first, yeah.
5th or 6th, after the first.
So we're putting in provisions to make sure there's not too much overlap.
No,
with
they
these
asked us
projects.
not to do that because that's their busiest time, the week prior and the week after Christmas and things.
Right.
They asked that we didn't do it during those 2 months, and it's gonna be cold.
No, I'm saying like, you know, they've got East Minor Street going on right now. If we start this, you know, make sure we're not gonna start another project, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
as far as how many different projects are we gonna have going on at one time, you know what I mean?
We could, go ahead, John.
if I may, the reason we're doing this is because of the cost of construction.
Right,
It's going up substantially every year.
yeah,
And the more that we can get done and get all of these done by the end of next year,
right.
it's gonna save us a lot of money.
Right.
And
But as
that's,
far
What did he
as
say
like,
today,
you
a
know,
0.5% per month? Is that what somebody said, 0.5% per month? That
Yeah.
construction costs are going up.
So we're just making sure, I just wanna make sure that we're, you know, paying really close attention to the, you know, traffic plans and things like that, cause I'll be honest with you, I've had to talk to Tony almost every other day about the traffic plan on East Minor Street, it's horrible. They're not doing it, I mean, I understand they only have so much to work with there. But it's, you know, they're changing the direction every day and they're not really telling anybody what's happening, it's like, it's up to us to figure out where to go. And it's getting pretty frustrating, and I think that they need to make sure they have good traffic plans, for any new projects that they take on. They need to make sure they have a really good traffic plan,
Are the
because the one they
plans-
have on East Minor is not very
Are they
good.
changing because the scope of the project is changing and it has to change, or?
It's, you know, there's a number of, you know, variables going on, but, I mean, they have a limited amount of space to work with, and I do understand that. And, you know, the idea is that one of the ends of the street is supposed to be open at all times, which has happened, but you never know which end is gonna be open. They don't put signage up, and you have to like start driving and talk to somebody. Half the flaggers don't know what's going on, you know, so that then you're giving the wrong information, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, it's just one of those
Talk
things
about that
that,
on Thursday at our construction meeting. We had a
yeah,
construction
it's just
meeting.
been really
We talked
poor,
about that.
and, you know, and Tony's been really great. I mean, I've myself which way I need to go when I leave my house. Because there's only one way that's available at any given time, and it's not super obvious which way.
Unfortunately, and I'm sure you've heard it, XL will be at one end one day.
Exactly.
The other
And-
end the next day, and.
And once Sturgeon gets out of there, it'd be a lot easier for them to mitigate. I do understand that there's technically two different crews there right now, right? But the problem is that these two different crews don't seem to be talking to each other. And I understand that, when I talk to Tony, he's like, well, Sturgeon guys they're gonna do their own thing no matter what. And I think we need to figure out how to scratch the no matter what out of that sentence. Because it's just becoming quite frustrating for everybody on that street right now. And it's really like all the work that they're doing, we all understand what's going on, but it's just the lack of communication between ACC and Sturgeon, and nobody knows really where to go or how to get out of their neighborhood sometimes.
Okay.
So I think they just need to make sure that they're talking to each other, and we need to eliminate the concept of they're going to do what they want to do on Sturgeon with their flaggers and stuff. That should just never be a thing that we have to deal with, is them not communicating with each other. You know what I mean? That's my rant.
Right.
You feel better.
Would that just be the annexation of just that
There's
property?
they just came to us and had a discussion about tying into our water, up to our sewer and water. There's still a lot to be talked about because the concept of annexation and not doing it at all, and if we could do an annexation, how that would work. And so it's still really preliminary about what they want to do. They're the ones that will have to file a petition to annex in, so that'll take some time. They're trying to weigh out if it's going to be more beneficial because people out of the city pay double water rates, plus caps are double. So they're trying to do the pro forma to see if it's going to make up for them to say, let's just annex in, and then we'll have the cap. So they're going through that with their pro forma right now to see which is going to benefit them.
It's too bad they just don't have a website that each one of them could, so you could just click on a website and see which end.
Yeah, right.
Stuff like that, wouldn't that be
Yeah,
great?
right. Well, the problem is I don't even think they know. That's the thing.
Well,
They don't even know what's going on.
They don't know that.
Because I'll drive one way and one guy will be like, yeah, go this way, and then I get there and they're like, you got to turn around. This is blocked.
Do you have four-wheel drive?
No. I know how to drive in the snow.
Andy. All right, city clerk.
Mayor and council, I just have my staff report for your review. No request for action.
All right, when do our business licenses go out?
1st of November.
Do we want to look at increasing the cost of them?
I don't think so.
You think you're okay with that?
There's a lot of flack after the last time they went up.
When it went up $25?
They went from 25 to 75.
Oh.
Damn.
Damn. There's somebody at the chamber mixer the other night says, oh yeah, I work from my home. And
Yeah.
I called him out on it, didn't I? I said, you got a business license?
Yep.
They just looked at me.
You didn't know he was talking to,
I
did
can say it publicly. I'll tell you the confines of your office. Okay, thanks, Diane. Chief.
Mayor and
You're up.
council, I apologize for the late submission of my report. I was out of town part of last week. I'll refer you to my report, but just and we'll be going up Van Eden Road to start. Well, we're going to take out what we can. John's going to provide us with one of their pickups. If it's not too impractical, we're going to pull out the recyclables so we can bring those to the dump for free. And then the other trash we'll bag and we'll get out what we can. Also, I did get the quote on the new truck. It's going to come in at 37 without being tricked out. So it's more than that, but it'll be less than the cars. So I'll go ahead and run the purchase order over to you tomorrow, Andy, to get your signature.
Are you doing this through the state bid?
Yes. Yeah.
So what's going on with Van Eden Road? It's been a while since I've...
Well,
Are those people still living there? That-
Up on the ranch, I think they are,
Yeah.
but I think it's kind of like a communal kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know, talking when we do our public safety meetings, the Department of Health.
I think the
folks.
long-term residents from the past are gone.
Okay, yeah, I think family inherited it or family
Yeah.
members.
Cause it was like a couple of years ago, there was like there was a guy that was talking about buying it that was coming to the chamber and telling us about stuff.
Row up there?
No, it was like a,
Row up there. But
or
they-
no, yeah, you're right, it was like a marijuana, it was like
Yeah,
a,
they were
it was like a
wanting-
CBD ranch or
So
something.
they wanted to get augmented water from the county.
Oh jeez.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, we own easement on either side of the road, but we don't own the road, is that correct? It's a campsite, people have been camping, and there's
Yeah.
clothes, there's tents, there's, you know, it's probably one of those camps.
Heavy equipment.
No, up there, no.
Yeah.
No, there was a, like a screener for gravel that we.
Okay, but
removed.
historically, it's been a mess.
Oh, a dumping ground,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Yeah, when I used to take my trash up to the transfer station, I would always see like a van there at the bottom of the road, people
Right.
hanging out in it and stuff.
There are some houses up there, you know,
Quite a few, yeah.
There's one that's abandoned, but, and there are some houses where people live in them, you know, seasonally, or a couple of them appear as if they live there full time.
Huh.
So, you know, and I'll get together with John and we can talk about signage. If we actually own the road in either side, that would be a little easier, but, we'll have to do a little bit more research. One other thing, the mayor, and I, after a meeting with the sheriff and I, discussed the parking situation on 103.
Oh, cool.
And it appears that Colorado State right-of-way, the CDOT right-of-way, isn't as wide as we originally thought. So that may help us mitigate some of the problems.
They're parking on
Oh,
private property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I have to go actually get the plots from
Right.
the assessor and ensure that. But I think if that's the case, it'll be an easy fix.
Okay, cool.
And I've also been talking with CDOT about what we're talking about, you know, with the parking on there.
Yeah.
And how they can help, or what they, once we find out the property lines, they'll be able to post it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we're kind of looking at posting it with the time that they would have to be off that right away of parking, which would, in the event,
Yeah.
we're gonna camp there.
Could we also ask them to make sure they maybe put a little money in their budget for helping us mitigate that? If there's,
Packing companies?
no, CDOT, as far as like
Mitigate.
anybody that's on actual CDOT property, you know what I mean? If we can't do anything about that. Oh, right.
But remember this, it's like any other, you know, road. I mean, we have jurisdiction over it. So
Right.
we've worked through with CDOT and put up like certain parking restrictions, like no parking between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Oh, okay.
You know,
And
things
if
like
you
that.
do that, then you can enforce it
We can enforce
much
it.
easier, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks for you guys going up there and looking at that.
Well, I didn't get it. I'm just the
Scott got the,
guy that, yeah.
Scott got the blunt of it, took it
Yeah.
to me, and I said,
Yeah.
so, that's what we're supposed to be doing as council, when you
Yeah.
hear something from somebody in your district, and
Yeah, absolutely.
talk to them, bring it back to
Well, and obviously
council.
with the, you know, the weather, you know, the winter pending, it's obviously not been as much of an issue, but it was like also.
Right, but we
it was a
need to
hot
make
topic
sure
all
that
summer.
we prepare for next summer.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
and have some kind of resolution for that.
Yeah,
But the,
Or
I mean, the
solution.
problem is that business doesn't have enough parking for their business.
Late parking
Right.
requirements and things like that, and we
Yeah.
had one person, Diane Fugger, we had one person that sent a letter, I don't think they came in, but they sent a letter of opposing the business, and so now unfortunately it's.
the ABA
probably gonna-
business.
The ABA
Yeah.
business, yeah. And, with that parking lot there gonna go away for a fire station, that's gonna be
Yeah.
problematic for them too, because they use that parking in the summertime, and
Yeah,
so,
it's gonna be a big deal.
it will be. All right.
Well, if they buy the old high school and use that as employee housing. Anyways, sorry.
They've already tried that. Jermaine. Pitching tents on the track.
Seriously?
Go for that. All right, John, you're up.
Mayor and council, I refer to my staff report. I do have one request for action for construction management, and materials testing and design support for HDR for all of the projects that we're going to take on.
Okay, ready for
And
that?
we're all approving this as a council, right? Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I
I'm being facetious.
would move to approve task order number 2 to HDR Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $1,400,492.20 of construction management services and design support for the street and bond fund and the mayor to sign.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second discussion.
So what is this?
This is for the continuation of HDR. We're just continuing their contract for them to manage the Greenway and the other road projects that we continue on East Minor and then
It's not
Central.
just one project, it's.
all-
No,
this
it's-
is- This is all of them, even
All of the
Riverside,
projects.
all of our bonding projects that we're lining up.
Okay.
Man, when's Tony gonna take us all out to eat?
You want steak and lobster?
Right.
Do I?
Want steak and
There
lobster?
you go.
I wanna know where the 20 cents came from, I can't.
Right, 20 cents.
I can
right.
tell we approved everything but the 20 cents.
Yeah.
I had to negotiate down 20 cents to get the contract.
And that's on him.
Right? Somebody needs to donate 20 cents.
He's Italian, he's not gonna pay it. All right, I love Italians. All right, we got a motion and a second. Discussion anymore? Roll call.
Michael Hillman.
Yes.
Stefan Now.
Yes.
Casey Stokes, Bob Boland,
Yes.
Mike Buick,
Yes.
John Curtis,
Yes.
Jason Segel.
Yes.
Motion passes, all right. We've got Dan's staff report in here. He kind of gives us an update of some things that's going on up there at the wastewater plant. And if you had any questions.
50,000, is that what, was that blower for the?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I
that's
think you did really
what
good.
they purchased from the
That's
city
pretty
of
awesome.
Erie.
So just to finish things up, we will not have a council meeting next Monday, so our fifth week, so we're gonna have a break.
Cool.
Process and some other items. Also, the signing the roundabout, they've already set the footer for it.
Oh, cool.
And when are they supposed to come out and install the sign?
I have not got a definitive date yet, but I'm thinking it's probably fairly soon.
Okay. So that'll be done. Also, the city with Asking has been able to acquire another ore card. It's the one from the old high school. So if you go up there, it's a wooden one, and we feel that if we, Scott Wallace is gonna get some tracks for it, lay those, put it on there, and we'll probably put like flowers in that one for there in the summertime, spring. So that was a anything else?
One quick question for the chief. The stage 1 fire ban, I thought that was lifted a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is.
Okay.
It was lifted.
Okay,
I
cool.
apologize.
Good.
No worries.
Do fireworks.
I was like, wait a second.
And John, any word on our trailer that they shanghaied from us?
No, I actually have not heard anything, and I need to get a police report file with their insurance. Mr. Mayor, if I may ask a question about gas line on Soda Creek?
Okay. Oh, yeah, let's discuss that real quick. So here's the deal. When we're gonna redo Soda Creek, Xcel Energy will come in and, replace what's in there for nothing. Okay, we've got the road dug up, they're gonna replace it. That, Chief's over there tagging me.
I'm sorry. Police business,
That
sir.
development design requirements that we just
Well,
adopted.
so why are we gonna spend $35,000
Because we can
on
recoup
something?
it on the
We
development.
can, we
Oh,
can
yeah,
try to
sure,
recoup it
yeah.
on the development.
Delay the development.
Yeah, we would delay the development for. And we would have an addendum to, or not an addendum, but a contingent upon that they would be responsible for that.
To pay us back?
To pay us back.
I see, okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So we make
Yeah, and I
the
think
initial
maybe even
investment and get
the
it in there
interest
so we don't have to tear it up later
Now,
on.
here's the deal, if they,
Developments in general do not have a very good track record in this town. Still, I mean, just in general, I mean, how many developments have we seen go through? I've seen.
well, when you have
Exactly.
a school that's got $2 million worth of
Yeah, but that's not the only thing that's been looked at in this town, you know, I mean, I understand, you know, I understand what's going on, but at the same time, for us to fork out.
But the fact, if it's installed, I would think that would also encourage development to happen.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna happen.
But do we want to
I think-
ensure
I
that
think
all on
someday,
slope?
so-
I mean, is that where
We
we
don't
want
know if
development
it's
to
10
go?
years from now or 2 years
If
from
it's
now or.
300 housing units, I think that we could use a development like that.
I think
But can
times
that
are
road
changing as
really
far as
handle another
really.
300 housing?
That's what the public meeting's gonna be open?
Yeah.
No, they'll have to, that's gonna be part of the project, they'll have to redo that road, they're gonna have to make the access and.
Right.
And as far as past history, we're in a different time right now, there's a need for housing big time.
Well, I'm 100% aware of that, but, I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
just, you know, blanketing the word, you know, development, I mean, there's a lot of things
And it
involved.
could be that we never see a development in our time.
Yeah.
But even if it's after our time, for somebody to come in and reach on a road that should last us 20 to 30 years, to come in and all of a sudden affect a business right in front of it, to dig that road completely up. I was a little upset that they're even gonna charge us for it, because we're digging a ditch and having it open, basically.
Yeah.
All they had to do is come in and put the pipe in and upsize the pipe, but unfortunately, that's not the way it works.
Just
It did come in at 75,000, and
Yeah.
we all freaked out.
You know,
75,000, we would have never.
That's almost a footnote.
But we gotta know which way council would like to go, and maybe even, I know it's not on the agenda, I don't know if we can. We can't make a motion and vote on it without being on the agenda and publicly announced.
Do you want a feel for how everybody feels about it initially, or no?
I'm sorry?
Do you wanna get a feel for how everybody feels
Well,
about it?
that's kind of why we're discussing it now, so we can start planning and moving forward.
I think I would be in favor of it.
John? Mike? Bob?
Yes.
And I'm in favor with the idea that we can recoup this, and I'll talk to the developer and let them know what we're doing.
All right.
I don't think they're gonna fork over $35,000 for us to do it, but they'll know that we're gonna expect this to be repaid, with the development of the contingent upon the repayment of this.
So can we make it to where that if
And you
these
know,
people pull out, that anybody in the future that tries to do this will?
We need to talk to Carmen about that, how we can structure that,
Right,
that
I
if this
think that would
development
be-
doesn't go, anybody that has to tie into that 4-inch line for
Yeah.
development up there
Has to pay.
would be.
Any
would be on the hook for
development
that.
has to.
We're just preparing the way for the.
And I understand that.
And if I may,
What about the water line? Is that? No matter what size they need. Okay,
But
cool.
we're in command of that, we're not in command of the gas, because that's Xcel Energy.
Right.
So we need to adopt a special.
Yeah, yeah, and if we didn't do it now, if they came back in, like we said, we've got 5 years that they can't tear that road up, is
Yeah.
one thing. And then the cost on the development to re-tear that street up, replace it, put the line in, then,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's not
gonna
gonna
be
be
higher.
it's not gonna be $32,000 either.
Well, no,
Because
it's
this is a whole.
It's
now
gonna
you're
be
looking at
higher.
$200,000, $300,000
Yeah.
to, probably more than that to replace the road and everything.
Yeah, John's been.
one other caveat, I guess, to that is today, I believe today or Friday, Sandy received a credit from Xcel.
Boulevard or East Minor,
Colorado Boulevard.
Colorado Boulevard, so we
That's
got a
amazing.
Much or so?
Nice.
This is one of the
But
first
that is,
things.
it's an offset that we thought we'd already spent money on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right.
Okay, let's get this on the agenda for a vote and get it on the books
See an action item next meeting.
for next meeting.
I'll let Xcel know that
We're looking favorable.
we're looking
Thanks
favor
for
of
talking about that
it.
down there right now. Okay, anything else, council? One other thing, I know that John is working with the rec district for our Christmas tree lighting and how the kids are gonna be moving back and forth in the area. And I don't know if anybody knows, but the street light, the Christmas light company's been out here, getting our trees on.
Are is it gonna take them, what, a week or so to get it all done, or how
It's
long?
done completely.
Oh, it's all done?
The only thing that we didn't do, we got those wreaths for the head frame, but we thought it'd be a little weird to put them out before Christmas, so
Yeah.
he's gonna come back and do it in a couple weeks.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay, anything else? It is, 8 o'clock, meeting adjourned. Good job, council.
John?
Here, this is a sales tax report for
I was
August.
just wondering if there's any.
As I said, it's showing